What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another portfolio update. So as you guys can see, my portfolio has had a nice little recovery from last week because it did have a little correction. If you guys look at the Tesla's 1 month, we see about this time last week, Tesla did have a little bit of a sell-off and it was trading for about 408. I think I actually bought for $406 a share on the little dip. And obviously we've had to have a little correction. So me buying the dip um, was the correct decision. I pretty much took all of my savings and bought the dip, which is why I only have a £1,000 allowance left for my stocks and shares ISA for the year. But yeah, don't worry if you guys didn't buy that little dip we saw, because obviously there'll be many more to come. You know, this whole market is heavily, we're in a massive bull market, so that was only like six. I think there was only a 5-6% correction the way because it was a massive red day anyway. It was about most stocks were down like 5-6%, or the high growth stocks anyway. Um, but yeah, there'll be. I'm expecting in probably Q1 of next year, just because there's generally cyclical weakness. Obviously not financial advice. Please do your own research. Um, but yeah, that's just what I've seen. We do see a little bit of a weakness in Q1, and we could see about a 20% correction. I don't think it'll be too bad, and if there is a correction, I think there will be. It will just bounce right back, if because I don't see the US entering a long-term recession. There just might be some um, weakness in terms of earnings growth not keeping up with the valuations. So that, and then valuations correct, people buy the dip, and then obviously that's all speculation. We don't know yet, but that's kind of where my head's at. We'll probably see some weakness in Q1 across the board, but obviously that's no guarantee, which is why I'm just going to do the buy and hold. Um, and if there is a massive crash, I will buy more stocks. Obviously, I won't be able to do it in my stocks and shares ISA. I'll just buy it in my general investment account. So yeah, I'm just going to continue to dollar cost average into the market when I get my paycheck each week. So currently with Tesla, we're sitting at £149,000, up 62.29%. Currently sitting at 455 shares. And if you also add my 105 shares from my general investment account, we're sitting at 460 shares. Now, a lot of people ask, how have I got this much, money at 22? Well, I've been very lucky to, well, not just luck, but it's also a lot of hard work. So yeah, I do still live at home, so my expenses are very low, about £500 a month. And I've got a decent job where I've been working and getting me about £3,000 a month after tax. Um, and yeah, I've just been working a full-time job during university, so I haven't had much of a social life at university. When comparing, to all of my friends, they've had a lot more of a enjoyable time. But when I look back at those years, I don't regret it in the slightest, because all of my mates that did enjoy uni and did the classical uni, including my brother, don't have 150,000 in the stocks and shares ISA. So yeah, I personally don't regret it, and if you guys are on the same path as me, I don't think you'll regret it. Um, so yeah, anyway, my other two positions. So Robinhood, that hasn't been doing that well. If we look at the 1 month, we have started to see, weakness and a sell off since hitting 150. So now it's currently trading at 131 on the 1 month. It's still up 10.59%, which isn't too bad, obviously, because it had a nice rally. So a sell off is to be expected. See my average price now, $120 a share. I'm up 9.61%. And my final stock that I hold, Ariane. I'm currently up 2.11%. I have 10 shares. Average price is 59.83. Just because I was averaging up when it was in because I did buy when it was in the 40s, and I did buy 2 shares at 36. But yeah, I did just continued to just buy more, and to be honest, the majority of my buying was in the 65, 67. So yeah, currently my average is sitting at 59. Um, and we have had a little bit of a pullback from it hitting all-time high, which to be expected. Like all of these AI company valuations have been kind of insane. Like take AMD for example, like that went up like 26% in a day. Now I know that was due to a deal it struck, but I don't think that deal in itself was enough to warrant the stock jumping how much it did, considering part of the deal is AMD giving up 10% of the company. And I just think, this whole AI sector, we have to be careful because a lot of the stocks are entering a bubble, and a lot of people throw it back at me and say you're so heavily invested in Tesla, and people think Tesla's a bubble. However, I don't think that's the case. I think if we do see a correction and a lot of these stocks that are in a bubble correct, if we see, I reckon we'll see the market maybe pull back 20%. As I said earlier, obviously not financial advice. This is just a rough guide. But I think Tesla will do about the same. And considering it has a high, considering the betas too for Tesla, you'd expect double that. Whereas I don't see Tesla pulling back more than the market pulls back. So I don't actually see being this concentrating in Tesla as a bad thing. Anyway, if we go into the value or just the portfolio breakdown, I'm sitting at 150,000, which is a nice milestone to cross. If we go on the 3 month, I did actually hit 153 before it then pulling back. Yeah, it's nice to be back over the 150,000 mark. ISA allowance, yeah, just got £1,000 left. Cash, got like 50 quid in there. Investments, yeah, 150,000. 149 in Tesla, 782 in Robinhood, and 450 in IRN. So I've got, and if you go into my asset allocation, it is still very heavy Tesla, still over 99% Tesla, which over the long term it will probably get to about 95. I don't see myself going below 95% in Tesla just because I have so much conviction for the company. Obviously, I do not recommend you guys do the same, just because it is risky, and unless you have done the research into the company and it falls 30%, unless you have that conviction, you're more likely to panic sell and not stick it out. And earlier on, a couple of years ago, when I didn't have as much conviction as I did now, I did panic sell in, I think it was Q2 of 2024. I was trying to make a trade, so I sold, even though I still like the company long term. I was like, okay, we're going to see a little bit of weakness in the stock, and obviously when you're playing that game, don't play that game. Anyway, I ended up buying my position for a loss, and then I lost about 37 shares because I bought back at a higher price. So yeah, if you've learned anything from my mistakes, don't do the whole, oh yeah, I'm gonna sell at a high and then buy back my stocks lower. Like, it doesn't work. Just because just on theory it might work, but just when you add in all your emotions, and that's what the kicker was when I added in all my emotions, even though I had done my research, and then Tesla did fall a little bit, but it wasn't enough for the trade to be worthwhile. Yeah, I did end up losing a lot of money on that trade, but lesson learned. I'd rather lose the money when Tesla wasn't worth, when I lose 10% of like $20 per share, because it was just when it was trading in the 200s. I lost 10%, so I lost a load of shares, and then rather than me making the mistake now, where the share price is a lot higher, so the percentage difference between when I bought and sold would be more, if that makes sense. And I'm not doing a good job of explaining that. Anyway, guys, if you guys learned anything or you guys enjoyed the update, please make sure to like, subscribe, and just share the video if anyone else might be interested. Anyway, that's it for me today, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.